Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So on today's video, I'm going to help you understand how you should be investing your salary as per today's market dynamics. You might have seen a lot of videos that speak about how to invest your salary. Yes, that is a general perspective of investing salary. But as per today's market dynamics, how is it that you should be investing a 20,000 rupee salary, 50,000 rupee salary, 1 lakh rupee salary, 5 lakh rupee salary? You will have a complete understanding if you watch this video till the very end. So please watch this video carefully, make notes. It's an extremely important video because it will also teach you how to progress in terms of your portfolio building. If you are in your early 20s, early 30s, even early 40s, and if you have that 20-30 year vision in terms of your career and investment planning, then watching such videos will give you a very clear sense कि अच्छा ऐसा होता है when your salary grows. This is how you need to change your investing style. So with that spirit, let us kickstart the video. And the first very important question that will come is, is this even the right time to invest in the market? Because I keep on hearing the news that recession aane wala hai, US problems are going on, oil prices have risen. So should I even bother about investing in the market right now, or should I stop my SIPs and probably wait for a better time to start reinvesting my salary? So let us have a very quick conversation there and let me help you understand the macro view of the market. First and foremost, I will just spend maybe 2 minutes explaining it, and then I will move to investing as per different salary levels. So the first things first, please take a look at this chart. This shows something called as yield curve. And there is something called as yield curve inversion which is happening in the economy. And इसमें बोला ये जाता है कि whenever the yield curve inverts, then a recession comes. And if a recession comes, that means that the stock market is going to fall. Whatever money you are putting in the stock market, it's going to go to dust. Bunch of वगैरह problems are going to happen. So people panic and people do not understand this issue completely. So let me spend a few seconds explaining that. So first and foremost point is the meaning of yield curve. Now here, let me explain this complicated topic by using a very simple example. That let's say that you're doing a 3-year FD, right? Then you might be expecting, let's say, a higher rate of interest on a 3-year FD. For example, you might be expecting a 9% interest rate. Then if you do a 1-year FD, then you might be getting a lower rate. For example, that rate might be 7.5%, 8%, right? मोटी बात ये है that when you are doing your FD for a longer term, longer duration, you are expecting a higher rate of interest. And when you are doing your FD for a shorter term, you might be getting a lower rate of interest. So this is typically how the economy functions. But in yield curve inversion, what ends up happening is that the interest rates for long-term assets, they fall compared to short-term assets. So this is indicated by these red regions on this particular chart. And whenever this yield curve inversion happens, and here we are looking at 10-year versus 2-year yield on the treasury bonds. So here, whenever this yield curve inversion happens, then क्या होता है? Then आता है recession. This gray area that you're looking at, this is recession. And whenever recession happens, बुरी चीजें होती हैं and it kind of scares us. So let me scare you a little bit more. So if you delve deeper into this chart, you will see that in 2000 the yield curve inverted. That was dot-com bubble. Then here 2007-8 there was 2008 financial crisis that happened, recession happened here. So ये सारी problems चलती रहती हैं. And here again the yield curve has inverted in 2022, 2023, but the recession has not come yet. There was a very brief recession that happened in this part, this gray part that you're seeing, but इसका impact इतना ज़्यादा तो नहीं हुआ, right? The market has hit an all-time high in India also, roughly like 20,000, this, that. So people are now sitting and saying that, see, recession is going to come. This yield curve has inverted. So should you be scared? Should you stop investing your salary? Let us quickly check on that, because once you gain confidence कि अच्छा यार, नहीं होने वाला ऐसा कुछ, even if it happens, fine, we will be able to weather through that storm, then you can confidently invest your salary in the stock market. So in relation to this, the second key point that you need to understand is that no one can predict when the recession is going to come. For example, if you consider this particular part, you will see that this yield curve inversion happened in 2007, and in 2008-9 the recession came. Okay, so this recession came after the yield curve inversion. Something similar happened here, that yield curve inverted, then as a कुछ भी नहीं हुआ, right? I mean, 6-8 महीने तक, 6-8 months, everything was hunky-dory. Then a big recession came here. Then what happened in 2020-21? Well, this is the yield curve inversion, and recession happened earlier only. So is recession going to come next? Is recession not going to come next? Can I tell you something? Well, I don't know, right? So no one knows whether recession is going to come next or not. Everyone keeps talking about yield curve inversion wala complicated concept. I have explained it to you in super simple language. Now, relating that concept to the recession, the bottom line I want to tell you is that, see, you cannot predict a recession. Recession might come immediately next year. It might come after 2 years. Till that point, if you're just waiting and watching, then you will end up losing a lot of money, because the markets might go to 22,000, 23,000, 25,000, and then a recession might come then, right? So you will miss all the gains that you might be making in this type of a market. So naturally you will say, yaar, itna humne bata diya, right? And you are not able to predict recession. See, don't believe people when they tell you recession is going to happen, recession is not going to happen. Those are all predicaments. What you can, however, sensibly somewhat forecast is whether the stock market right now is undervalued or overvalued. Stock market se bhi aapko dar lagta hai, then you could go and put your money in fixed deposits right now. It's a very good time to do fixed deposit. Why? Because the interest rates have peaked. And right now, you can actually end up making roughly 9.5% also on some of the fixed deposits. One of the best apps that I would suggest for this is Stable Money. On Stable Money, you can go and compare over 200 different FDs, fixed deposits, and pick the one that is giving the highest possible interest rate as per your risk appetite. With that respect, you might end up making 9.5% FD returns also. So I have personally used this app and I found the UI UX to be really nice, clean, very easy to use. Some of the highlights are that you can open fixed deposit directly within 3 minutes. The FDs are directly at the banks or NBFC. That means that you can visit nearby bank branch and confirm your details. The FD hui hai ki nahi hui hai. So you can check and verify all this information yourself. Now the best part is that you can use my links in the description and comment box and get a 250 rupee cashback in case you are doing a fixed deposit of more than 25,000. So this is definitely an option that you could consider. Okay, so with that said, now some of you would say that, okay, theek hai, one portion of our money we will do fixed deposit irrespective of our salary levels, and the second portion we want to invest in other asset classes. And the first asset class that we would consider are stock markets, because stock markets mein acha return banta hai. So are the markets overvalued or undervalued right now? Let me give you a very quick commentary and then I will outline a salary wise specific plan. So here is the PE ratio of Nifty 50, and very simple words, PE ratio simply indicates how expensive the market is. If the PE ratio is peaking and it is very, very high, for example, here the PE ratio of the entire market was 30 or even more than 30. So one could argue that markets were expensive. Now, typically you would see that the PE level for the Indian market is roughly between 23 to 25. That is considered to be a moderate zone. And right now we are trading at somewhere around 22. So at this juncture, the stock market is not overvalued. This is a critical point that you need to understand. I can't predict whether recession is going to happen, not happen, this, that, but looking at the numbers, looking at the fundamentals, looking at the company results, that the earnings have improved, bullish sentiment in the market, good things happening. Stock market really hasn't given like massive run up in the last 1.5, 2 years. So combining all those things, we can reach the conclusion that dekho, is time pe stock market is not overvalued. So I hope 2 points are very clear that okay, aapko FD karani chahiye, nahi karani chahiye. So if you're doing FD, definitely check Stable Money. And second is that should you be investing your money in the stock market? Short answer is yes. You should still be putting your salary in the stock market. So now let's delve deeper into specific salary levels, and 5 salary levels के बारे में बात करेंगे, and the strategy will change a little bit as per these 5 different salary levels. So the first salary level is 20,000 or less salary. So if you are making less than 20,000, then there are certain assumptions that I will make. Assumption number 1 is that your savings rate will not be more than 20%. हो सकते हैं किसी के ज़्यादा हो सकता है, some people might have it less, but we will assume it to be 20%. So 20% of 20,000 is how much? It's 4,000 rupees. So even if we assume that you are somehow able to beat the market, generate like 15-20% CAGR and whatnot, then also by investing 4,000 rupees in the next 10 years, how much money is it that you're going to make? So you can simply go and check this calculator. Again, I will put this in the comment and description box. So let's assume that you are beating the market. You are generating 15% CAGR. Then also you end up making only 11.14 lakhs if you are doing a monthly SIP of 4,000 rupees. The bottom line here is that I keep on getting so many messages from students. Yeah, you know what, Akshat, we have just started working. Our salary is not very high. Should I borrow money and do trading? Should I do this? Should I do like these 50 different things? वगैरह वगैरह. The short answer is no. See, if your salary is less than 20,000 rupees, then there are a few key specific goals that you need to first work towards. So according to me, if I were making a 20,000 rupee or less salary, these are the 4 specific points that I will focus on. First criteria or goal for me would be to grow my salary. Very, very critical point that at this juncture, I am least bothered about playing this game. 15% return, 20% return, 25% return. I'll not bother about that. I will first and foremost figure out ways to grow my salary or generate additional source of income. How to do that? Please watch some of my other videos. You can work over the weekends. You can pick up some freelancing gig. You can learn web designing. You can do a bunch of 100 different things to make additional money, right? So this is my goal number 1. My goal number 1 is not कि market से पैसा बनाना है. Second key point is to improve my habits or get into a habit, because the chances are that if you are making 20,000 or less, you might be in early stages of your career. So develop the habit of saving, develop the habit of investing, where I will tell you in a minute. But at least habit, sahi form karna is very critical. Then comes the third key goal that, okay, once you start making a little bit of money, and at that stage, fill up your emergency funds. Now, what is emergency fund? It is almost the 6 times your monthly expense कि कल को आपकी नौकरी चली गई, कुछ बुरा हो गया and all that stuff. Then this emergency funds protects you. So this is my third goal. Fourth and final goal is to increase my knowledge. Keep on consuming good content, follow, subscribe my channel, like this video, all that stuff you should do. If you enhance your knowledge, that sets a very good base, right? So all this stuff sets a very good base कि आपकी salary will grow at certain point in time, right? It will grow from 20,000 to 50,000, 1 lakh. But the fundamentals that you have built around this will serve you well in your next phase. So don't stress too much about the market at this stage, and please sort out these 4 goals in your life first and foremost, and then think about investing. So then comes the second investment level, and here we will assume that you're making somewhere around 50,000 rupees as a salary. Now this is a good time to get started in the market, do your SIPs, get a little bit more advanced. So पहले math check कर लेते हैं that if you are saving, let's say 20% money on 50,000 salary, then how much you are saving? You are roughly saving 10,000 rupees. So if at this stage you are able to make market returns, which typically comes out to be around 12.5, 13%, and you do it for a foreseeable future, 10 years. मैं फालतू की Excel नहीं बना रहा कि 50 साल में होगा, 100 साल में होगा and all that stuff. So in a foreseeable future, 10 साल में, you will reach a decent corpus of 25 lakhs. Now there are a bunch of questions, and I know that a lot of people are itching कि tax नहीं देना पड़ेगा, inflation नहीं होगा, and bunch of other things नहीं होंगी. See guys, we are doing like a mota calculation here. There are a lot of things. For example, it might be the year 2023, you are making 50,000. Now your salary will also grow next year, right? You are going to invest more, right? So therefore, I am keeping this number the same just to adjust for inflation. Now tax ka, again, that usual salary increase is like 10%. Now 6% is inflation, but you might end up making like additional sources of income. So all that I'm keeping aside just to help you explain a very simple math. So I hope that you got my point. And now let me talk about investing strategy, that if you are at this 50,000 rupee salary level. So at this level, I will leave you with 3 critical goals, and please combine it with the previous salary level that we have spoken about. So these become your additional goals. So the first key thing that you need to understand here is that you need to increase your salary, because 25 lakh seems good, right, as per today's market circumstances. But of course, this is not like a income where you could retire, all that stuff. So you still need to work on your active income, right? So that's a separate topic. Now let's speak about goal B, or the second key goal. Here, you need to start understanding how to play around with mutual funds. Now, what is the meaning of that? For example, many people end up paying like 1.5% commission on whatever mutual funds that they are buying. So figure out how to pay less commissions. But definitely, you should invest a part of your salary in mutual funds. But किस तरीके के mutual funds? Where the commissions are low. Example would be something like Nifty 50, right? So if you're looking to buy a large cap blue chip mutual fund, pick Nifty 50 mutual fund. Why? Because the commissions or the expense ratio is really low on Nifty 50, and studies prove that large cap blue chip equity mutual funds, 80-85% of fund managers are not able to beat Nifty 50. So अपनी life simple रखो, simply go and put your money in Nifty 50. You will be good to go. You will be able to save a lot of money on commissions. This simple simple tip itself is going to save you lakhs over your investing career. Now, the second key tip that I will give you in terms of mutual fund investing at this salary level will be that make sensible picks. यूजुअली वॉट पीपल डू इज दैट यार वो अपनी SIP चला देते हैं इन अ सर्टन म्यूचुअल फंड कि यार स्मॉल कैप में वी विल फॉर एवर डू वट एवर द मार्केट सर्कमस्टांसेज, ब्लू चिप में वी विल फॉर एवर डू वट एवर द मार्केट सर्कमस्टांसेज, निफ्टी इज हिटिंग एन ऑल टाइम हाई, वी विल कंटिन्यू टू इन्वेस्ट इन लाइक निफ्टी 50 ओनली. नो, प्लीज डोंट डू इट. A classic case in point given as per current market circumstances is that you are much better off buying something like ITBs, right, or IT index. You can rather buy that. Why? Because there is an opportunity going on that ITBs or IT index is heavily discounted from its top. But if you go right now and start investing like crazy amount of money in small cap, might not make sense, right? So it makes sense to be slightly more opportunistic. कि आपको दिख रहा है कि इस महीने the IT index is trading much lower, then run your SIP for 3-4 months on IT index. Then suddenly you might find like some other index which is discounted. तब आप उसमें run करो, right? So right now, given the market circumstances as of October of 2023, IT index is at a discount. Consumer durables is at a discount. Small cap, mid cap are peaking, right? So उसमें अगर आप करते हो typically, then invest lesser amount in it. These are sensible things that you could do without doing crazy amount of market research. Now, third and final tip that I will tell you at this salary level is that you should start learning about direct stock picking, direct stock investing. Buying mutual funds or buying stocks is easy, okay? The headache becomes that when to book profits. If you are playing in individual entities, individual stocks वगैरह में, then cutting your position becomes much easier if you understand the basics. How to cut your positions, when to sell stocks, when not to sell stocks, when to book profits. All this stuff I teach on my stock market course also. Our October batch live is completely full. We are running a crash course for January batch. In case you want to make your new year filled with knowledge, do consider signing up for that. It will be a crash course on stock investing. I will help you understand macro style of investing. बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लगेगा आपका. That you know what, you sit and analyze markets all day, all that stuff. You will understand the entire A to Z of investing in the markets. On top of that, when the course ends, you will be made a part of the investing community. You will be put, and I will give you commentary for the next 1 year so that you can apply that knowledge, learn things yourself. दिन का एक पोस्ट होता है, just quickly read it in 5 minutes, analyze the market for another 10 minutes, 15 minutes में you will gain solid knowledge every single day, right? So that's the intent with which I have designed that course. In case you are interested in learning more about it, do check out the links in the description and comment box. Anyways, wrapping up this salary level, here, if you learn direct stock picking, then the chances are that instead of making like a 12-13% return, you will have a much better time making 17-18% return. And इस return में there is a C difference. आपका portfolio over a 30-year period will go 2x, 3x just with a difference of 3-4%, right? आपको 3-4% लग रहा हो, hardly makes any matter. No, it's a lot of difference between making 12% return and 17-18% return. So I hope you got the perspective. At least you should start orienting your mindset towards learning individual stock picking in a rational, sensible manner. Now, the third salary level is when you are around that 1 lakh rupee mark. And here again, we will assume a 20% savings rate. So monthly investment that you could start making is easily around 20,000 rupees. Now, if you are doing 20,000 rupees of investing every single month, then in 10 years, you will have very solid amount of money with you because 50 lakhs mein you can end up doing a lot of stuff after 10 years. So imagine that you are like 25. Then by 35, if you have 50 lakh rupees saved, then that 50 lakh rupees becomes what? Well, that 50 lakh rupees generates something called as portfolio income. Meaning of portfolio income is that, for example, you can go pick up this money, buy a property or a real estate. उससे आपके पास पैसा आने लगेगा. So this becomes a viable source of income. It would allow you, this capital would allow you to generate an additional source of income. That is the power with 50 lakh rupees. अब ये 25 भी हो सकती है किसी के लिए. It might be like 1 crore, 2 crore. No head or leg to that. But according to my analysis, I feel that if you are hitting that 50 lakh level, it gives you very good opportunities to go and make more money from this existing money. So to cut the long story short, at this salary level, you should start taking your stock investing game or investing game in general very seriously. So in this respect, I will leave you with 3 sub goals or 3 additional goals. Please consider the word additional because purane wale will still apply. But these are 3 additional things that you need to start thinking. First is that you need to think about asset allocation. Now, what is the meaning of of asset allocation, it more has to do with portfolio construction. For example, please don't start making the argument कि real estate ही सबसे बढ़िया है, या stock market ही सबसे बढ़िया है, या mutual fund ही सबसे बढ़िया है. The best thing is what? Where you end up making a lot of money. Now, all of us think that we are very smart people, very smart investors, that wherever we are putting money, that is where the money will grow. No, I have been saying right from day one of starting my YouTube channel, I am a highly diversified investor. I invest in properties also, commercial properties also, Airbnbs also, this, that. I invest in stocks also, US stocks also. So I build a very diversified position. Why? बहुत simple सा reason है. There are asset class cycles that happen. Sometimes the real estate will grow for 10 years and then it will flop. Similarly, stock will grow for 10 years, then 5 साल कुछ नहीं होने वाला. So, to cut the long story short, you need to start focusing more on asset allocation. This is critical. Now, of course, you might not be able to purchase real estate just because you have gotten a salary of 1 lakh rupee, but you should start researching and learning about the market. Usually होता क्या है कि when people end up making a lot of money, now I have like, let's say 2 crores. Then they will start learning about the real estate, right, as an asset class. And you are thinking, yaar, ek mahine mein jaake on 1 month I'm going to go and buy real estate. Then you will end up buying like a very bad real estate, which will hardly give you any rental yield. You would not have done any negotiations, all that stuff. So problems ho jati hain. So whatever money you need to put after 4 years, at least start learning about that space starting now. So that is the simple message that I'm giving. At this stage, you should definitely think about becoming a more diversified investor. Learn about how to hedge your positions, learn about real estate, learn about bond investing, learn about stock investing, so that you can allocate your assets really well. How to do it? Separate video. Now comes the second key point. Specifically in the stock market, what can you do? So in stock market, now your goal becomes to divide your portfolio into growth assets and defensive assets. Now, what is the benefit of dividing your portfolio into half and half or almost half and half? See, when it comes to certain growth assets, let's pick banking stocks or NBFC stocks. These typically give higher returns compared to Nifty. If Nifty is growing at 13%, then typically in a growing market, banks will grow at 15-16%. So you are able to generate that alpha, or the growth part of your portfolio is able to beat the market. This is where you really become rich, right? The defense part of your portfolio is that it gives you a hedge. For example, 2020 is a classic case that the entire market corrected, but Hindustan Unilever stock did not correct much. It temporarily corrected and then it rose really sharply. And FMCG में कोई खास correction नहीं आया था. So you have to offset your growth with defense. This becomes an important first step to your portfolio construction. So as per today's market circumstances, what are some growth options that you can explore? Banks. Number one thing that you can do is invest in private sector banks, not a recommendation advice. You can do your own due diligence, but those are growth assets which are available at sensible prices as of now. So those could definitely be added. What about defense? Is FMCG a good sector to invest in? Yes. Please don't expect to beat banks in terms of your FMCG picks. That is unlikely to happen. But in the event the market stays sideways or the market shrinks, this defense is going to stabilize your portfolio. So something like Hindustan Unilever is still at a very good buying level. It is trading at its 200-day moving average. So these type of stocks are very, very good to add to your portfolio. Now, of course, subsequently, you will have to learn more about growth investing, defense investing, and make your investing style little bit more complex over time. But वो आपको experience से आएगा, वो आपको खुद का पैसा लगा के आएगा. When you start investing your own money, that is where you will start getting flavor of all these things. So then comes the fourth salary level, and here you might be making somewhere around 1.5 to 3 lakhs. So we'll take somewhere around 2.5 as the base. So here, if we assume 20-25% savings rate, because your savings rate might also go up if you have cultivated right habits. So roughly you can easily invest 50,000 rupees a month. So this is where magic starts happening, that you end up making 1.23 crores. And this is definitely a very good amount to create additional sources of income. So capital income bolte hain, portfolio income bolte hain. You can go buy house or a bunch of shops and all that stuff. That can be done if you're picking your assets sensibly. On top of that, at this stage, you can afford to make illiquid investments. One question that I keep on getting is कि यार land खरीद लें, बहुत अच्छा होता है land खरीदना. Yes, land is a very good asset to own, but the problem is that land is an illiquid asset. You cannot flip a land very quickly. Land appreciation usually happens like 8-10 years. So if you are on a low salary, you do not have other cash flow that is there. then the problem happens that you might be tied for money, and jo land investment that you have done, you might have to sell it off in a distressed situation and take a hit. But if you are having this much salary, then start thinking about buying a land or start thinking about like agricultural income or whatever you need to do. So these are some additional points that you could consider. So let me very quickly summarize 3-4 key goals here at this stage that will give you more clarity. So the first key point is that you must cultivate something called as the core portfolio. Core portfolio means that you have no interest in selling these stocks or these set of assets or this piece of land or this piece of real estate for the next 4-5 years, or unless something significant happens, right? For example, I'll give you a couple of examples. So I have HDFC Bank in my portfolio. I have Hindustan Unilever in my portfolio. For the next 5 years, at least abhi ki situation dekhte hue, I'm not going to sell these, right? So these are my core portfolio stocks. There are a bunch of others. I'm just using these two as examples. These are my core portfolio stocks. Up tomorrow, HUL falls by 5% or HDFC falls by 5% or rises by 10%. I'm least bothered about it. If I get an opportunity, I will add more stocks into my core portfolio. What is my ambition here? Well, the ambition here is that these are like safe-ish for me. Ki stock market falls, this, that, and दुनिया भर की problems हो जाए, at least my core portfolio is not going to get hurt typically, and ऐसा नहीं होगा कि HDFC बैंक में या HUL में tomorrow suddenly the company vanishes, right? So these are highly trustworthy stocks for me. So you should start thinking about your core portfolio at this point. Second key point is that you must focus on cash flow. Now many people build their cash flow by buying dividend stocks. I do not believe in that theory. I buy real estate. I have a bunch of real estates that gives me like 6 to 9% yield. In fact, I'm building a real estate and उसको मैं project को introduce भी करूँगा आप सबके सामने. There, I will at least make a rental yield of 12%. Now, many of you would say, no, you are just bluffing, this, that. I'll show you all the proof. The point is that your acquisition cost of a particular property should be sensible, or you should be able to unlock value out of that property. This is the point that people do not understand. Anyways, coming back to the topic, these are all cash flow assets for me. Now, whether you do it by building real estate income or whether you do it by doing dividend income, that is your prerogative. The advantage is that what ends up happening is that if you have this cash flow income and your money is in stock market or bunch of other investments, and if some opportunity comes, that market griya, right? Market corrects by like 30-40% in like couple of months. Then if you have cash flow coming in, then it allows you to downward average situations. And that is where you will end up making crazy amount of money. Third key point is that you should be taking higher units of risk. At least 30% of your portfolio should be oriented towards risk. For example, even now, you could consider investing your money in small cap or mid cap stocks. Now you might say that, Akshat, just a while back you said that don't invest in small cap, mid caps. Well, at what salary levels? Because if you are investing or if you have an investable salary of let's say 2.5 lakhs and उसमें आप 50,000 लगा रहे हो, then the chances are that this risk portfolio of yours, you are not going to withdraw it for a 3 to 5 year period. Now, please pick a point on small cap, mid cap. Tell me, a 5-year period, यहाँ पे आपके small cap, mid cap से return नहीं बने हो. If you have done an SIP, you would still make very good money in that format. Problem happens is that people add very high risk very early without understanding the entire perspective. So I hope you got a perspective on how to construct your portfolio as per today's market level. There's one more salary level that I wanted to speak about. Tomorrow, I'll do a community post around it. One key point that you could consider doing is that you can watch this video. It is on constructing your mutual fund portfolio. I've discussed mine. It will give you more idea and will act as an immediate next step that you could start executing. The goal of my channel is to help you execute things. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Do check out Stable Money also. It's a wonderful platform. It would allow you to do your fixed deposit and create that emergency fund. So use that and definitely check out the platform, and I'll see you soon.